Good morning, everybody. We're going to conclude the week of reviews with our look at the Buffalo Springfield box set, which was compiled by Neil in 2001, and it was released on July 17th of 2001. What this is basically a 4 CD set that spans Buffalo Springfield's entire career from their inception in 1968 or 66 to their dissolution and breakup in 1968. The band lasted only about 18 months, and in 2000, Neil started putting this together, and he basically has everything, in the archives. He basically had everything that the Springfield ever recorded, and the first disc of the set is basically all acoustic demos, and I have several favorites on this record, and they're on this part of the box set, and there are several unreleased acoustic demos of Neil's, and the first song on the box set is a song called There Goes My Babe that Neil recorded, or a demo that Neil recorded, but it never saw the light of day on a Springfield record. And but there's demos of Flying on the Ground Is Wrong and Out of My Mind, and just basically all the Springfield songs, and except I wish there had been a demo of Burned and For What It's Worth and Go and Say Goodbye, because those are three of my favorites. There is, even later on in the box set, I think around disc maybe 3, there is demos, I think, of Round and Round and The Old Laughing Lady, which, as we know, Round and Round, It Won't Be Long, came out on Everybody Knows This Is Nowhere, which is a record that we will be discussing a little later down the road. And The Old Laughing Lady, of course, came out not too long after the breakup of the Springfields on Neil's debut album in '69. And I think the fourth disc is Neil did something interesting. He put the first two Buffalo Springfield albums on the fourth disc in chronological order, I guess to show kind of the progression of how the band got better as record makers, because it is well documented that the band hated the way that their first record sounded when it came out, because their producers slash managers were not record producers, and I tend to agree Neil and Steven went back and did a second pressing of the first record because they were so disappointed with the way the first pressing turned out that they went back and remixed it and re-released it. And actually, by that time, I think, For What It's Worth had become a somewhat of a hit, and they decided to put For What It's Worth on the second pressing of the record. And I think the second pressing is much better than the first because, like I said, their managers Brian Green and Charlie Stone Green and Stone, their managers were not record producers, so they didn't know what the heck they were doing, and in the process, they ruined the first pressing of the record, and also ticked Neil and Steven off. And so I think Neil put those two records on the fourth disc of the set to kind of show, like I said, the progression of the band as record makers, to show how their sound had somewhat changed between the first and the second record, and it is rather evident because the second record, and they will agree, or at least Neil will agree with me, the second record is much better than the first because Neil has said that the second record is basically the best record that the Springfield had ever made, because the band, the second record, the band was basically in charge, and they could make it sound the way they wanted it to. And so I think the second record is much better than the first, and I think it shows on this box set. And so, there is even a version of Down to the Wire that that we mentioned on Decades, the song Down to the Wire. There's even a version on this box set of Steven singing Down to the Wire, which I think is rather interesting. And at the end, I think, of the fourth disc, there is a tremendous piano version of one of my all-time favorite Buffalo Springfield songs of Steven's, 4 Days Gone. I love that. I love that song, and there is versions of Special Care and Questions, which, as we know, Questions kind of morphed into Carry On from Deja Vu. So overall, I really, really love this box set, and I hope you do too. Hi everybody, something that I forgot to point out is that there's no live recordings on this box set because there was hardly any usable Springfield live tapes in the archives that were suitable for release. Although there are there is some live stuff from uh, Buffalo Springfield uh, on the internet that you can check out, but it's mainly it's mainly subpar audience recordings. But there was no usable live tracks for release on the box set, which is kind of a shame because I would have loved to have heard the Springfield live in their heyday. Hi everybody, I have one more thing to add. The title of this video will just be Buffalo Springfield, and the description will say box set review.